Hello everyone, my name is Blung Chang. I would like to take a moment to introduce myself and share my thoughts regarding a situation that has recently come to my attention. I am a relative of Kapu and I have known him for many years. In fact, we used to live together in the Vinai refugee camp in Thailand during earlier times in our lives because we spent those years living in the same community. I know him quite well and understand the background of many people from that period of our lives. Recently, I heard that Kapu has made public statements that many people consider disrespectful and insulting toward a Christian YouTuber named Tojsiab. In addition, the statements were directed toward Christian churches, pastors, and believers. After hearing about this situation, I felt it was important for me to speak and make my position clear. Although I know him personally and have known him for a long time, I do not agree with any words or actions that involve disrespect, discrimination, harassment, or insults toward others because of their religious beliefs. Every person has the right to their own faith, their own beliefs, and their own way of practicing their religion. Whether someone is Christian or follows another belief, they deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. I also want to address another important point. From what I understand, Tojsiab has been asking questions about certain Hmong traditional beliefs, including shamanism. In my view, asking questions should not automatically be considered criticism or an attack. Sometimes asking questions is simply a way to learn, to understand, and to educate ourselves about our traditions and beliefs. As Hmong people, many of us grew up practicing certain traditions without always fully understanding where they came from, how they started, or what their meaning and purpose are. For that reason, asking questions about our traditions can be a way for people to learn more about their history, culture, and beliefs. Education and discussion should not be seen as disrespect when the goal is to understand. Because of this, I personally believe that Tojsiab did not do anything wrong by asking questions about Hmong traditions or about the practice of shamanism. Everyone has the right to ask questions about beliefs, traditions, and cultural practices in order to better understand them. Our Hmong community has gone through many difficult experiences in history. Many families have lived through war, displacement, refugee camps, and the challenges of starting new lives in different countries. Because of these shared experiences, I believe our community should focus on unity, respect, and understanding rather than conflict or division. I also believe that social media and YouTube should be used in ways that bring people together, share knowledge, and encourage respectful conversations. When online platforms are used to insult, harass, or attack others, it can create unnecessary conflict and hurt many people in the community. For this reason, I want to clearly say that I do not support harassment, discrimination, or insults directed at Christian believers, churches, pastors, or the YouTuber Tojsiab. Differences in belief should never become a reason for hatred or disrespect. My intention in speaking today is not to create more conflict, but to encourage respect, peace, and understanding among all people. I believe that even when we disagree, we can still speak to one another with kindness and maintain mutual respect. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my statement. Hello everyone, my name is Blum Richard Chang, and today I would like to speak about a very serious issue that I believe our community needs to address with honesty, responsibility, and respect. Recently, I have heard statements and announcements made by a YouTuber known as Tony Sky. In these statements, he used language and messages that include discrimination, insults, harassment, humiliation, and reputational attacks directed toward another YouTuber named Tojsiab, who is a Christian content creator sharing his faith and personal testimony online. What concerns me even more is that Tony Sky publicly announced that he intends to silence qhia and shut down his YouTube channel. Statements like this are deeply troubling because they create an environment of hostility and intimidation. I want to speak clearly and honestly about this matter. First, I want to say that I know Tony Sky, but I do not support his ideas, his statements, or his actions regarding this situation. I believe strongly that no one should be targeted, harassed, or threatened simply because they are expressing their beliefs or sharing their faith. In our community, we come from many different backgrounds, traditions, and belief systems. Some people follow Christianity. Some people follow traditional txoj, spiritual beliefs. Others may follow different religious or cultural paths. These differences are part of our identity as a diverse community. However, differences in belief should never lead to harassment, intimidation, or threats against another person. Freedom of expression and freedom of belief are fundamental human rights. Every individual has the right to share their beliefs peacefully and respectfully, whether those beliefs are religious, cultural, or personal. Qhia, as a Christian YouTuber, has the same right as anyone else to speak about his faith, share his testimony, and discuss his understanding of spiritual matters, whether people agree with him or disagree with him. His right to speak should be respected. Disagreement is normal. In fact, healthy discussions and respectful debates can help communities learn from one another, but there is a clear difference between disagreement and harassment. When someone uses insults, humiliation, or threats to silence another person, it crosses a line that should not be crossed. Another point I want to address is the topic of discussing traditions and beliefs. In recent discussions, some people have claimed that asking questions about Hmong traditional beliefs or shamanism is disrespectful. I want to say that asking questions is not the same as attacking or insulting a tradition. Many people in our community, including younger generations, have questions about our history, our traditions, and where our spiritual practices come from. Asking questions about these topics is part of learning and education. For many years, some Hmong people have not fully understood where certain traditional practices originated or what their purpose was historically. Because of this, it is natural that people want to ask questions and seek understanding. Education and discussion should never be treated as a crime or as disrespect. From what I have seen, asking questions about traditions, beliefs, or spiritual practices is a form of learning, not an act of hatred or discrimination. We must allow space for people to ask questions and express their thoughts without fear of retaliation. At the same time, we must remember that respect should go both ways. Those who practice traditional beliefs deserve respect, and those who follow Christianity or any other faith also deserve respect. No one should be humiliated or attacked because of their religion or beliefs. Another issue that concerns me is the use of public platforms to encourage hostility toward others. Social media platforms like YouTube reach thousands or even millions of viewers. When someone uses these platforms to insult, threaten, or attempt to silence another person, the impact can be very serious. Words spoken publicly can influence others, create divisions, and escalate conflict. Instead of encouraging hostility, influencers and content creators should use their platforms responsibly. They should promote dialogue, understanding, and peaceful discussion, not intimidation or harassment. Threatening to silence someone or destroy their platform simply because you disagree with them is not the right path. We should remember that our community is already small and often misunderstood by the outside world. When we attack each other publicly, it damages the unity and dignity of our people. Rather than fighting each other, we should focus on strengthening our community through respect, education, and cooperation. I want to make it very clear, again, I do not support harassment. I do not support discrimination. I do not support threats against anyone because of their beliefs. I believe strongly that every person deserves the right to speak, to express their faith, and to share their ideas peacefully. No one should live in fear of being threatened, humiliated, or silenced simply because they choose to speak about their beliefs. To those who may be watching this message, I encourage everyone to respond to disagreements with wisdom, calmness, and respect. If we disagree with someone, we can explain our perspective respectfully. We can have discussions. We can share knowledge. But we should never allow anger or hostility to control our actions. Our community deserves better than conflict and division. We must choose respect over insults, dialogue over threats, and understanding over hatred. Finally, I want to say this. I speak today not to attack anyone personally, but to stand for principles that I believe are important for our community and for society as a whole. Those principles are respect, freedom of belief, freedom of speech, and peaceful coexistence. I hope that moving forward, everyone involved in this situation will choose a path of responsibility and respect. Let us build a community where people can speak freely, learn from each other, and live without fear of intimidation. Thank you for listening.